Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
More dangerous than Al-Qaeda, the urgent warning, the ISIS emergency.
V. Stiviano fires back her new lawsuit alleging Donald Sterling's secret sex life and demanding $10 million.
The selfie photo at the center of a burglary case. Now the man in the photo comes forward. Good evening, I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan.
I'm David Ono. Welcome to Eyewitness News at LA56. And tonight, new information about the search for journalist James Foley's executioner and new information about the failed U.S. mission to rescue Foley. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is here live with those developments and more. Jory.
Well, David, we are learning more tonight about what went on in the days and weeks leading up to the execution of American journalist James Foley earlier this week in Syria. The ISIS group, or ISIL, sent several emails to Foley's family asking for ransom. The U.S. military launched a rescue campaign that wound up failing, and in the end, Foley was executed anyway. While most Americans were spending their 4th of July weekend celebrating, U.S. Special Forces were trying to rescue captured American journalist James Foley in northern Syria. Under the cover of darkness, several radar-evading helicopters dropped off elite soldiers from several units, including Army's Delta Force and the Navy's SEAL Team 6. Their target? A building they thought held Foley and other captives, but their intel was wrong. After a 2-hour firefight, one U.S. soldier was injured, several ISIS fighters killed.
It's the responsibility of our government and our leaders to do all we can to take action when we believe there might be a good possibility, a good chance to make a rescue effort successful.
We also learned that among the emails ISIS sent to James Foley's family was one asking for $123 million in ransom money. This is one of the terror group's largest sources of funding, but has seen none come from the United States.
We do not make concessions to terrorists. That includes we do not pay ransoms.
And tonight the search is on for the identity of Foley's executioner. Authorities are attempting to match the only parts of the hooded figure's body visible, his eyes, his hands, with a database of known terrorists. But most telling may be his voice, with British authorities saying it's a distinctive London accent.
You have plotted against us and gone far out of your way to find reasons to interfere in our affairs.
Meantime, as ISIS continues to terrorize Syria and Iraq, video emerges of those Yazidi not lucky enough to escape to displacement camps. This propaganda video released by ISIS shows hundreds of Yazidi captured by ISIS who were given a choice: convert to Islam or die. Here, they perform a prayer from the Quran before lining up to hug their captors. Today, the FBI vowing to continue their fight against the terror group.
We'll stay on it. We'll work with our law enforcement, our intelligence, and our military partners to try to bring justice to the Foley family and bring the full force of the United States to bear on these savages.
And today, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel saying, quote, ISIS is beyond anything that we've seen. U.S. officials are reviewing how to deal with them, which could include more airstrikes in Iraq, airstrikes in Syria as well, but as of now, no decisions have been made. We're live in the Satellite Center. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jory. Shots were fired during a holdup today at a Westminster jewelry store, and it's not the first time. Police say armed robbers wearing masks entered TikTok watch and jewelry inside the Asian Garden Mall and used a hammer to smash display cases. This is the third robbery at the store in 2 years, and each time there's been gunfire. At this point, investigators are still trying to figure out who fired the shots.
2 suspects were seen running eastbound from the location.
I was standing in front of the door mirror when they jumped in with a mask and with a gun and a hammer.
Last September, the store's owner shot at the thief who got away with the watch. 2 years ago, the owner shot and wounded a would-be robber. In today's incident, no one was injured, and the thieves fled with several watches and are still at large.
Well, here's a story that's getting a lot of attention tonight. Surprising new allegations from V. Stiviano. She wasn't talking outside her Los Angeles home this evening, but the allegations are quite clear in new legal documents filed by Stiviano's attorneys today. They are in response to a suit filed by Shelley Sterling that claims V. Stiviano illegally obtained real estate and a number of luxury vehicles from the Sterling family trust. In response to that suit, Stiviano fired back today, quote, claiming she never had sex with Donald Sterling, that Donald Sterling is a homosexual, and that Stiviano acted as his and Shelley's beard or cover for 3 years. Stiviano maintains Shelley Sterling was acutely aware of Donald's sexual orientation and that all gifts made by Donald Sterling to V. Stiviano were gifts of his separate property and therefore not marital or community property. Now, in a cross-complaint also filed today, Stiviano claims she was slandered by the Sterlings and the Clippers. The cross-complaint alleges Stiviano was exposed to hatred, contempt, and ridicule, suffered loss of reputation and shame and mortification, injury to her person and psyche, and injury to her feelings. Stiviano is seeking damages of no less than $10 million. And we will have much more on these latest developments in the Sterling-Stiviano saga on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock.
A murder mystery in Pacoima where a man was shot dead in his truck while on his way to work. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Starworth has the latest on the search for the killer and reaction from one of the victim's friends.
One of my guys called me and said Hildardo's been shot, and I said to him, okay, well, what hospital do I go to? And he says, no, he's dead.
Contractor Greg Bennett says he cannot believe the man who was shot to death at the intersection of Bond and Glen Oaks this morning after 5 in Pacoima was his employee and friend, 47-year-old Hildardo Morales.
It hit me. I was shocked that no one only lost a really good employee, lost a friend. We're a small company, and we're used to working together all day.
Several residents of the area say they heard multiple gunshots. Detectives have no motive or suspects. Investigators say the victim was at the intersection when gunmen drove up and opened fire.
Fired into his vehicle, striking him from behind, killing him, and witnesses heard the shots.
I'm really shocked that this happened to a guy like this because I can't see him have any enemies, and he's just an all-around good guy that, you know, he's got your back.
Bennett says he and the rest of his staff at his small tile business were so hurt by the vicious killing of their friend and co-worker, he sent everyone home for the day.
We're all going to get through this together, you know. I don't know when we're going to go back to work, but I know, you know, we got to get back to work and we got to move past it.
Detectives need your help on this case. If you can help them, they want you to call 877-LAPD 24/7. That's 877-527-3247. And Pacoima, Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jurors recommended the death penalty today for a man convicted of taking part in the killing of a Marine sergeant and his wife. Kashawn Sykes showed no emotion as the judge read the recommendation. The 27-year-old is convicted of murdering Jan Petrak and his wife Kiana in their French Valley home in 2008. The victim's family say they have been living in hell since the murder 6 years ago.
They want to say it's closure, but it's not closure. Our children are still gone. They're off the streets, so they can't do this to somebody else, but it's not kosher.
Last year, 3 other Marines from Camp Pendleton were also convicted in the murders. 2 were sentenced to death. The other received 2 consecutive life prison terms. Sykes will be sentenced in November.
An ex-Marine charged with murdering his pregnant alleged lover and then dumping her body in an abandoned mine shaft in Southern California will be extradited from Alaska. Christopher Lee has waited extradition. He was arrested Sunday in Anchorage, a day after 19-year-old Erin Corwin's body was found in a mine shaft near 29 Palms. Her husband, also a Marine, is stationed there. Corwin's friend told investigators Corwin and Lee had been having an affair and that the baby was Lee's.
Well, now the latest from Ferguson, Missouri, and take a look at this live picture. It's just after 10 o'clock over there, and at least so far, things are relatively calm for the second night in a row. In fact, I'm just getting word that we don't have that live picture for you, but things are going much better. In fact, Missouri's governor has ordered the National Guard to begin a withdrawal. As the investigation continues into the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Michael Brown by police officer Darren Wilson, there are growing concerns for the prosecutor to recuse himself. His father was a policeman killed while on duty, and some people fear he will not be partial. He says he has no intention of stepping aside. Meanwhile, one day after visiting Ferguson, Attorney General Eric Holder again reassured people that the Justice Department is hard at work on this case.
We'll try to do this as expeditiously as we can. On the other hand, at the end of the day, it's most important that we get it right, and that means that thoroughness, completeness is what we will emphasize.
A grand jury has begun considering evidence to determine whether the officer should be charged. Among the evidence, a newly released cell phone video taken moments after the shooting. A witness can be heard in the background saying Brown was shot while walking towards the officer and not away from him, as some witnesses have stated.
A man whose selfie went viral when it was linked to a stolen phone is speaking out. He and his family say they bought the phone at a swap meet. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez says the man in the selfie and his family are coming forward to set the record straight.
A mystery couple in a selfie snuggling in bed. Little did they know when they snapped this photo, their phone was linked to an iCloud account and their intimate picture would be shared nationwide.
My family started calling me about it, letting me know, friends, letting me know that I'm on the news, I'm on Facebook. I'm like, what's going on?
Larry Beltran, suddenly famous, and not in a good way. The rub here, sheriff's deputies say the phone had been stolen from Asaga's home along with cash and jewelry. Who did it? Larry Beltran says not him. His aunt says she bought the iPhone along with another at a San Fernando swap meet.
I don't want my nephew's face all over. You know, now people are going to look at him a different way. I don't think that's right, because it's his face and I'm the one that got on the phone, and I feel bad for that.
She says she thought she was getting a bargain, $80 for 2 phones.
These are the phones I got at the swap meet. And this is the phone that my nephew took the picture on, and that's why it's a big issue.
When you have electronic devices, laptop computers, tablets, cell phones, these devices are linked to a cloud account.
An iCloud, a storage space for data too bulky to keep in your device. The photos, quite a discovery for the burglary victim.
Once on her own personal cloud account, these selfie images appeared on her own personal cloud account after the burglary occurred.
Investigators here say that Beltran and his girlfriend were always just persons of interest, not suspects. Beltran's aunt says she can't wait until he's totally exonerated.
I want to resolve this and get my nephew's face off the news, you know. I want everything cleared out, and I just want to stand now. That's all I want.
The investigation continues. The mystery now, who was that vendor at the swap meet?
My aunt came up to me and she said, look, I bought these phones off this guy, and she gave me one because my phone's cracked, so I took it, and next thing you know, a month later, I'm here right now. I hope they find the people who did this, because it's not right.
Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Israeli forces killed 3 senior Hamas military commanders in an airstrike that demolished a 4-story Gaza home. This is the second attack targeting Hamas leaders in as many days. The commanders played a key role in Hamas military strategy. Israel also called up 10,000 more reserve soldiers, signaling an escalation in the war after Egyptian ceasefire efforts collapsed this week. Hamas militants fired more than 100 rockets at Israel today.
A homecoming in San Diego today for sailors who took part in the search for that missing Malaysia Airlines plane. Hundreds of Navy families were waiting as a pair of destroyers, the USS Pinckney and the USS Kidd, arrived in port. The ships, with more than 700 officers and enlisted men and women on board, were on training missions in the South China Sea when the plane vanished in March. Both ships provided their helicopters and support crews to help search for this plane, which has still not been found. But welcome home.
And up next here at 8, a man falls 100 feet down a cliff and survives.
How his gymnastic skills helped save his life. His incredible story.
Plus, caught on camera, a wrong-way driver on a collision course with the cops. See what happens next.
Plus, a happy development, the story of a local woman scammed out of money while trying to cheer up her young, sick daughter. How complete strangers are coming to the rescue.
And the legal battle over a monkey's selfie comes to a head.
And it looks like those clouds are out there tonight. Will they be in store for the weekend? Details on that, the rain chances, and those cool temperatures. Stick around. The extent of today.
He's going to hit. He's going to hit. He's going to hit. He's going to hit on. Oh, that's too, mate. I know you did. I know you did. I know you did. Door shot. Can't get out, mate.
Caught on camera, a wrong-way driver crashing into a police car on a highway in England, just the way police planned it. The 77-year-old driver, who reportedly has dementia, was going about 50 miles per hour on the wrong side of the road. Officers intentionally clipped his car to try to stop him, and it worked. One of the officers did suffer minor injuries. The elderly driver, who had been reported missing from his home, was not hurt. Officers were commended for their actions and for preventing any other accident.
It must have been scary. A Colorado man survives a 100-foot fall down a steep cliff, all thanks to his gymnastics training. Dylan Schutz, a gym teacher, was hiking with a group of friends at St. Mary's Glacier in Colorado, about 45 miles west of Denver, when he plunged down the cliff, and as he tumbled head first, he used his skills as a gymnast, flipping midair and somehow managing to land on his feet.
And then he spots his landing and then kind of does like a front flip over him.
Doctor asked him, do you want to do gymnastics again, Dylan? He said, yeah. And he goes, well, then we'll get you there. So anything he wants to do, I know he'll accomplish.
But Schutz did break both his legs and ankles in the fall and punctured his lung. Schutz says he doesn't plan on doing any more hiking once he gets back on his feet.
We've got some pretty incredible video into the ABC7 newsroom from yesterday's wild weather. Take a look.
Oh my God! Dude, that was right here! I just seen smoke, bro!
That was video sent in by viewer Jared Hampton showing a massive lightning strike. This was in Moreno Valley. And as you can see, the bolt hit a tree, causing it to catch fire and send smoke up into the air.
His reaction is just like Jonathan when he sees something on the Doppler.
And that could be anything.
Crazy, bro.
Oh, look at this, a new car. It's ice cream. That's usually ice cream. That's my ice cream response is like that. He is. We should get him on board. The great personality.
Yeah, he was excited. But I mean, who wouldn't be? That thing landed right a few feet away from him.
What a sight. But today, the storm activity very limited. We did have one fire up later in the day around Big Bear. I'm going to show you right now, actually. I'm now live Doppler 7000 HD. But overall, it was a calmer day, and the majority of the activity, as expected, was off to the east and southeast of the area because the energy that is associated with the weather maker, the low pressure area, has moved off to the east and southeast as well. This is that storm right here in the animation. Right there, you can see that little cell, the darker colors there, the red and the yellow right there at the beginning of the animation, moves south through Big Bear. So we're looking at dry conditions right now in Big Bear, but a little sprinkle possibly right here between Murrieta and Hemet and just around Lake Elsinore. And that's it tonight. We're going to start drying things out completely as we go through the rest of the forecast. This is that shot of Big Bear, the storm I just showed you on the radar. This is the actual time-lapse of it. Beautiful, huh? Good stuff. I love those. Almanac. High today, 80 degrees in downtown. Normally we're at 85. It has been cooler than average lately, and it'll stay that way. If you're loving the temperatures, it's going to be fantastic. You're going to be a very happy person through the weekend. We're in the 70s right now as we look at Long Beach in LA. 75 Fullerton, 85 only in Palm Springs. Really comfortable there, 84 in Santa Clarita. And as the weather maker I mentioned, the area low pressure moves out. This is it right here, actually. You can even see that circulation around that low, which is counterclockwise, pulling that moisture up and around. And as that moves away, we have drier conditions on the back side of it. But we will still have cooler conditions, okay? So we're going to keep that in place. By the way, I want to mention Lowell, now back down to Tropical Storm Lowell, is going to create some rough surf throughout the weekend. If you're heading out to the beach, we're looking at some rough conditions because of the swell that it's going to create with that large circulation with low. Just FYI, if you got plans this weekend on the sand. Lows tonight in the 60s, mid-60s in LA. And let's check out that 7-day forecast. I think you're going to like the temperatures. 83 tomorrow and then lower 80s for the next 4 days after that. We don't warm up to the mid-80s again until next Wednesday. No rain. No rain in the valleys or IE. Dry. Maybe a little bit of morning cloud cover on Saturday, but that's the worst of it. Temperatures down to 86 on Sunday. Back in the 90s finally by next Tuesday. All right, mountains, you've had a couple of storms here and there the last few days, you know that, but I'm taking out the rain chances completely for the whole forecast. Maybe a few clouds next week by Wednesday, Thursday. Temperatures staying steady in the mid-70s, and the high desert just looks absolutely beautiful. Lower 90s, back into the mid-90s by Monday, and just a breeze here and there. We'll have another look at the forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, the federal government has spoken. Monkey selfies cannot be copyrighted. You heard that correctly. But this is a story that's been floating around social media quite a bit. Here's the deal. You may remember the story. A British photographer was getting shots of monkeys in Indonesia when one of them grabbed a camera and, intentionally or not, took a ton of selfies. You're watching them or looking at them right now. The shots went viral, and Wikipedia used some of them. The photographer got upset, claiming the photos were his under copyright law. But the new edition of U.S. copyright rules clearly states only works created by humans can be registered. The photographer is still trying to make his case, claiming the monkey was his, quote, assistant.
Really? An update on a story we brought you last week about a Rancho Cucamonga mother who tried to buy a puppy for her terminally ill daughter, but ended up falling victim to a scam. After our story aired, people in the community stepped in. And Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has more on the touching turn of events.
We've watched her slip away a piece at a time in front of our eyes.
5-year-old Arwen Hamilton Trayer is terminally ill. She cannot see, she cannot speak.
She was a healthy child until 2, and now she is completely bedridden.
But Kim Trayer's daughter now has a new little friend that will hopefully make life more comfortable.
I put her arms around the puppy, and the puppy just stayed in her arms. And all night long they slept together.
But what you're looking at right now almost never happened. You see, Arwen needs a very small dog to feel comfortable, and when Kim Trayer tried to buy her one on the internet, she says she was swindled out of $900 in a scam.
I don't normally consider myself stupid, but because I was so desperate to make this happen for my daughter, I did something against my better judgment.
However, after our story on the situation aired last week, the generosity of the community poured in.
Just overwhelming response.
Yes, there were many offers, including an anonymous donor who stepped forward to buy Arwen this little puppy.
For somebody to actually gift us with this, I can't even describe it. It's just so overwhelming.
So Arwen and the whole family now has a new companion, and Kim Trayer says there's a big lesson to be learned in all of this.
It was very heartwarming to know that there are still good, compassionate people out there. I had lost kind of faith in everybody. It's amazing. Our family has had so much heartbreak in the last few years. It's incredible.
In Rancho Cucamonga, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
You know what's remarkable is that puppy just kind of immediately kind of took to her.
It's a true love story.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
Adorable. Up next, details of on Bank of America's multi-billion-dollar settlement with the U.S. government.
Plus, UPS stores hacked the information the thieves got away with.
And no drones. That's what local activists are saying to the possibility that the LAPD could start using the devices. United Parcel Service is warning that some customers at its UPS retail stores may have been hacked after discovering a data breach at 51 stores across the country, including some in California. Customers may have had their credit and debit card information exposed by a computer virus. UPS says no fraud has been discovered, but customer names, postal and email addresses, and payment card information were compromised.
U.S. government has reached a $16.6 billion settlement with Bank of America over its role in the sale of mortgage-backed securities during the run-up to the financial crisis. B of A will pay a $5 billion cash penalty, another $4.5 billion in remediation payments, and provide $7 billion in relief to struggling homeowners. The more than $16 billion settlement is by far the largest deal the Justice Department has reached with a bank over the 2008 mortgage meltdown.
We are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
Plus, South Pasadena high school students returned to school after 2 fellow students were arrested in an alleged school shooting plot. The new security detail.
And hang on to your bike seat, a mountain biker's world record jump attempt when Eyewitness News returns.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, new information in the hunt for journalist James Foley's executioner. I'm David Ono.
I'm Ellen Leva. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Investigators are looking carefully at the only visible parts of the hooded man, his eyes and hands, and trying to match them through a database of known terrorists. Most telling of all may be his voice, which British investigators say carries a distinctive South London accent. Meanwhile, we now know among the emails sent by ISIS captors to Foley's family, one was demanding $123 million in ransom.
Also tonight, startling new details in a lawsuit brought by V. Stiviano. She wasn't talking outside her Los Angeles home this evening, but her attorneys filed legal documents today in response to a suit filed by Shelley Sterling that claims V. Stiviano illegally obtained real estate and a number of luxury vehicles from the Sterling Family Trust. Stiviano claims that all gifts from Sterling to Stiviano were gifts of his separate property and therefore not marital or community property. And Stiviano alleges that she never had sex with Donald Sterling and that Donald Sterling is a homosexual and that Stiviano acted as his and Shelley's beard or cover for 3 years. Stiviano is seeking $10 million.
It's back to school for students at South Pasadena High School, one day after 2 teens were formally charged in an alleged plot to kill staffers and students. As Eyewitness News reporter Q McCrae tells us, security was tight on campus today.
It was the first day of school for students at South Pasadena High. The class was the furthest thing from their minds.
It's all overwhelming and shocking because I wouldn't imagine this stuff to happen here. I could have been in a class with one of these people and not knowing what was ever going through their minds throughout the entire school year. 2
incoming seniors were arrested and charged with making a criminal threat. The 16 and 17-year-old male suspects were in court yesterday. We spoke with the younger teen's stepfather.
My wife and I would like to apologize to the whole community, every student, every parent, every faculty, that we do not condone any kind of behavior.
According to police, the teens threatened to shoot and kill 3 staff members and as many students as possible. Prosecutors say they also told a friend about the plot and threatened to kill him. This morning, South Pasadena police had extra patrols on campus as a precautionary measure.
We had officers from other adjoining agencies come out to kind of just offer support, security, and let people know that we feel very secure in our city, and we want them to feel secure as well.
Most parents seemed at ease with the police presence.
It looks great today with the police and all the staff and lots of parents walking their kids. I'm glad to see that.
And he said no.
But parent and attorney Katrina Campbell says the district should have a restraining order on the suspects.
Those students may be released to their parents on their own recognizance. And under compulsory attendance laws, those students have to go to school somewhere. They come back to school.
I called the superintendent's office and asked if the district plans any further legal action against the suspects. I'm still waiting for a call back, but I can tell you that the district had counselors here on campus today to help students get through the day. In South Pasadena, I'm Q McCrae, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A former child model says he now wants to dismiss his sex abuse lawsuit against X-Men director Bryan Singer. Michael Egan III says he can't find a new attorney to represent him. His former attorneys asked to be removed from the case after their relationship with Egan deteriorated. Egan wants the lawsuit against Singer to be dismissed without prejudice, which would allow him to file it again later. For his part, Singer says or wants the case dismissed with prejudice, with costs and fees imposed against his accuser. Egan previously dropped 3 similar lawsuits against other entertainment figures.
The ALS Association says it has raised more than $41 million since the Ice Bucket Challenge went viral, but today it took a dangerous turn for 4 firefighters in Kentucky. They were injured while using their fire truck ladder to help a college marching band take part in the challenge. Campbellsville University had requested the fire department's help in the stunt, but officials say the fire truck's ladder either touched a power line or came too close to it, shocking the 4 firefighters. One is in critical condition, a second firefighter is in fair condition, 2 others were treated and released.
A loud demonstration today against the LAPD using drones. Protesters came out in full force, letting the mayor and police chief know they don't want them in their city. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Olguin has more on this controversy.
Drone-free LAPD.
About 24 protesters gather at the steps of LA City Hall.
No drones in LA.
They're part of a group called No Drones LA, community activists who want the city to enact regulations banning the use of drones by the LAPD.
Why is it necessary that we bring such intense technology here to LA?
Jamie Garcia says drones don't belong in law enforcement.
When a drone is flying into a hostage situation, what is going to happen to the data of the surveilling area that they collect?
At issue, a pair of drones similar to these that were given to the LAPD earlier this summer.
The Seattle Police Department gave the camera-equipped unmanned vehicles to LA after residents in Seattle voiced their opposition to the technology.
No guns in LA!
Organizers of today's demonstration say the LAPD should have never accepted the gift.
This signifies the structural and operational formation of LAPD more as an occupying force that operates as a counterinsurgency force rather than the much-touted community policing model.
Back in June, when the donated drones were announced, LAPD Chief Charlie Beck said the drones can be beneficial.
They have an application, but we want to make sure that the value of that tool isn't overarched by the resistance to its use.
But the LAPD doesn't have the drones in question.
They're in the possession of a federal law enforcement agency, and the chief has said, you know, we're not going to sacrifice the public trust for pieces of equipment.
As part of today's demonstration, about 15 protesters tried to deliver a letter of demands to Mayor Eric Garcetti, but they weren't allowed inside City Hall. Police said the group's bullhorns, banners, and papier-mâché drones were too disruptive.
Right now, you're causing a disturbance right now.
No, we're not causing a disturbance. You are causing a disturbance.
Eventually, a representative from the mayor's office met with the demonstrators and promised to deliver their letter to the mayor.
No decisions have been made, and before they are, you know, we're going to have a lengthy approval process.
Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Tonight we're learning of a patient being kept in isolation in Sacramento Hospital it has tested negative for Ebola. That news on the same day that 2 Americans who contracted the Ebola virus in Africa have also beaten the odds. They are now out of the hospital and fully recovered from the disease. One of them, Dr. Kent Brantley, called him a miraculous day, saying he's thrilled to be reunited with his family. The Ebola virus had already claimed more than 1,300 lives in West Africa. Brantley and another American aid worker, Nancy Wright-Bull, contracted the disease while helping patients there. They were flown to Atlanta, where they were treated in a special isolation unit.
Through the care of the Samaritan's Purse and SIM missionary team in Liberia, the use of an experimental drug, and the expertise and resources of the healthcare team at Emory University Hospital, God saved my life.
Wright-Bull was discharged earlier this week and is recuperating at an undisclosed location. Doctors say they're confident the release of both of these patients poses no public health threat.
At Mammoth Mountain tonight, a guy rode his bike into the Guinness Book of World Records, and he rode it as well as he flew it. Take a look.
Ooh.
That's Cam Zink landing the longest ever dirt-to-dirt backflip on a mountain bike that's 100 feet, 3 inches in the air. It smashes his old record by 20-plus feet. He hit 45 miles per hour in the lead-up to the jump, and as you can see, he didn't just nail it. He had some room to spare, so he probably wants to do it all over again and make it even longer.
Yeah.
Daredevils love to jump off of it. Vandals love to tag it, and hikers love to just check it out. But as of today, the Ringe Dam in Malibu is off limits to the public. The historic Ringe Dam in Malibu Creek State Park was built in the 1920s, but lately it's attracted people looking to show off their treacherous jumps on YouTube. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has the story.
The Ringe Dam has been standing guard over Malibu Creek for nearly 100 years, but now park rangers are standing guard over the dam. Access to it officially off limits.
If they do not heed our warnings, and we do catch them down there, they could lead to a citation. It range anywhere from $100 to $300.
California State Park Ranger Craig Sapp says the dam closure comes after 2 years fraught with trail erosion, littering, graffiti, human waste, and this. A huge jump in jumping from the steep walls of the dam, a dangerous and sometimes deadly adventure. 2 people killed recently, many others seriously hurt.
We're seeing issues with public safety. We've had many rescues that have occurred over the last couple of years. The Los Angeles County Fire Department and the sheriff would have to extract them by helicopter.
Rangers tell us there's only one way down to the dam, and it is not an easy one. It is down this treacherous hillside over here. At the top, you'll see rangers stationed already, turning hikers away. The surge of jumpers at the dam, officials say, can be traced to YouTube, where videos like this are posted by people like Jeff Edwards.
Been going to Ringe Dam for about 5 years now.
Edwards admits all the online attention Ringe Dam is receiving has led to the crowds and graffiti and littering issues, but he says the vast majority of people who visit the dam don't get hurt and don't need protection.
You don't close the beach because some surfer gets killed, and you don't close a mountain because some snowboarder gets killed, and you certainly don't close the 405 every time there's an accident.
But closed, the dam will stay, Sapp says. The signs up, the rangers out, and the surrounding area deserted. A dam closure to some, a damn shame to others. In Malibu, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And up next here at 8:30, more legal trouble for a cast member of the hit TV show Scandal.
And a famous musical Band of Brothers celebrates with their fans on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Here's some of those cumulus clouds that try to build today, but the radar not as busy. So what does the rest of the forecast look like in terms of rain chances? I'll tell you about it coming up in that 7-day forecast.
There's more real-life scandal for actor Columbus Short. He failed to appear for a hearing yesterday on a domestic violence case, so when he showed up at a Van Nuys courtroom today, he was taken into custody on a bench warrant. The city attorney's office says the 31-year-old actor is facing misdemeanor counts stemming from an incident back in February, an alleged fight with his wife in front of his children. A sheriff's deputy says Short was not arrested, just taken into custody until a judge could see him about this case. Meantime, a separate arrest warrant was issued for Short today when he failed to appear in a felony battery case where he's accused of punching a man and knocking him out. The DA's office says he faces up to 4 years in prison if convicted in the battery case.
Los Tigres del Norte, a literal band of brothers who have been around the music scene as long as the Rolling Stones, earned their place in Hollywood history today. Jorge Hernan, Eduardo, and Luis Hernandez, plus their cousin Oscar Lara, have been playing together since they were boys. Los Tigres have recorded more than 500 songs and made more than 60 albums, selling more than 37 million copies worldwide. And they've won 12 Grammy and Latin Grammy awards. Today at the unveiling of the Star on the Walk of Fame, they gave all thanks to their devoted fans.
Thanks for everything, and I hope the people that don't understand Spanish, we are Los Tigres del Norte. Some of them, they know our name, and so we just really appreciate it. They are here this morning for us. Thank you very much for everything.
The band members were joined by the Hernandez brothers' mother at the ceremony. They play the Honda Center next week.
Well, last night, Dallas Raines took the Ice Bucket Challenge.
He sure did. Then he nominated Mark Brown, and today Mark took the plunge.
This is a drought-tolerant ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. You will see that I'm getting the water from the pool, so I'm doing it like this. I want everybody to make sure to give, too. It's a great cause. Dallas Reigns, thanks again for challenging me. I'm stepping up. There's the water. There's the ice. All right, go ahead. Hit me. Let's do this, Mira. Let's go, Mira. Oh, man.
His brother marks it gladly. Or I guess his brother's name, his brother's name is, I forget anyway. Again, no water was wasted during the challenge, and guess who Mark challenged? Lakers coach Byron Scott, and this guy, David Ono, he's challenged you.
I got a feeling that the Lakers coach has received 100 or 1,000 challenges by now. Let's see if he comes through. And I'll wait for him to go first.
Let's see if you go there with it.
Okay. Up next, meteorologist Jonathan Novak, who did his challenge yesterday, looks ahead to our weekend weather.
Plus, the Angels get some disturbing medical news regarding their best pitcher, Garrett Richards. Surf's Up in Surf City, USA. This was the scene in Huntington Beach this afternoon. Just another perfect SoCal summer day. But you better be careful if you're headed to the beach. We're looking at a strong rip current and big waves for the next few days, and that can mean trouble for all but the most experienced swimmers. Beaches most susceptible to dangerous rip currents will be Zuma, Malibu, and Cabrillo. So if you go, have fun, but stay safe.
Well, luckily the temperatures are a little bit cooler, so just go to the beach, hang out at the sand.
Exactly.
Don't go to the water. Water's too cold to go into anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, okay. I won't say if the water's warm, it's very enough. For me, I love it.
Well, it's warmer than usual, but still.
But you know what? Seas possibly 5 to 7 feet over the next couple of days.
Yeah,
but do you know why? No? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to tell you now. I'm going to talk about this anyway. I'm going to hold you. He's looking at me. He wants to know. Tropical storm low. Okay, I said it. I can't keep things in. Okay. The tropical storm low way to the south is giving us high surf this week. Okay. Well, I make it off with 7,000 HD. I'm terrible at surprise parties. I call the person, hey, Okay. A few showers today, but it was pretty much all contained to the east. We did have a little storm fire up around Big Bear just to the north and move south earlier. Now just a couple of really tiny echoes, maybe a small sprinkle around Crestline. The only real rain that might be showing up and actually reaching the ground, Lake Elsinore has that just showed up around between you and Murrieta. There we go. All right, outside right now. Let's get you out the door if you're going to be heading out tonight. 72, beautiful evening ahead, and if you're looking forward to more of this weather, then you're going to be very happy because we're in a pretty persistent pattern, minus the rain, over the next few days. 79 in Ontario right now, 73 in Temecula, 71 San Clemente, and 74 in Ojai. This is the weather maker, this area of low pressure. Let's zoom on into it a little bit. You can even see that circulation counterclockwise right there as it's moving to the east away from our area. And as that continues to move away, it'll take the rain chances with it to the east of us. And behind that, you see very dry conditions. Now, here you go, guys. Tropical storm low, winds of 70. Not an issue for us except for the fact that it is going to be with that large area it's occupying, pushing a long fetch of wind over the Pacific up into our area. So that means high surf for us for several days until it gets out of the picture. By the way, you can see some of that cloud cover getting yanked up with that area of low pressure. So pretty interesting how it all comes together. Now, there goes that low in the future scan. That's the energy along with it. This shows you where those features are in the atmosphere. This is a big area low pressure up to the north on Friday. Doesn't make it down here, okay? But we will continue to see that onshore flow as a result Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What that translates into basically is the temperatures staying right where they are, or take a degree or two. No rain, though. The rain's going away, and it is just picture-perfect stuff. Highs tomorrow, lower 80s in Los Angeles, 90, that's it, IE. Beautiful, 75 Huntington Beach, and only 100 in Palm Springs. Here it is, 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. I didn't give this away right off the bat, guys. I waited to the end. I have to. It's how the computer works. All right. Tomorrow's 83, 81, the 80s between Saturday and Sunday. Good stuff. We're not even into the mid-80s again until next Wednesday. Very pleasant, warm, mild. Valley's IE, 88 tomorrow, and then mid-80s for the weekend. Fantastic. Just a little bit of cloud cover in the morning, possibly. The mountains, beautiful. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. Lower 70s into the mid-70s next week. You notice no rain in the mountains. That's done with for this next 7 days, I should say. In the high desert, right around 90 degrees for a few days, and then back in the mid-90s after that. All right, Dallas has the latest in the forecast, and that's on ABC7 at 11. Back to you guys today.
All right, great forecast, Jonathan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, the Angels have the best record of the majors and have high hopes for a deep run in the postseason, but now they will have to march on without their best starting pitcher, Garrett Richards, who won't be able to pitch until sometime next season. Richards suffered a torn patella tendon in his left knee during last night's win in Boston. It happened when he was covering first base in the second inning. The 26-year-old right-hander was the anchor of the Angels starting rotation with a 13-4 record, and he'll have surgery next week. The Angels also picked up infielder Gordon Beckham from the White Sox today for a player to be named later. With Richards out, Matt Shoemaker stepped up against the Red Sox. Shoemaker hit the first batter he faced, but then he was in complete control, striking out the side of the first inning. He struck out 5 through the first 3 innings. He strikes out Brock Holt to end the 6th inning, and Shoemaker didn't allow a hit through the first 6 innings. 7th inning now, after getting the first 2 outs, Shoemaker finally surrenders a hit. Will Middlebrooks doubles down the left field line. Shoemaker goes 7 2/3 inning, allowing just a hit while striking out 9. It's the Angels' first 4-game sweep of the Boston Red Sox since 1962. Philadelphia's Little League pitching sensation Mo'ne Davis apparently has a lot of fans. Her game last night against a team from Las Vegas was the highest-rated Little League World Series game ever on ESPN. The game did a 3.4 national rating. That's nearly 6 million viewers. Mo'ne and Philly playing an elimination game against Chicago. First inning now, game tied to 2. DJ Butler with a grounder back to the pitcher, but Eric Lipson's throw to Mo'ne Davis is wide, allowing 2 runs to score, and Chicago takes a 4-2 lead. Second inning, the kids from Jackie Robinson West Little League add another pair of runs as catcher Scott Bandura throws the ball to left field. Chicago eliminates Philadelphia and advances to the U.S. Championship game.
Wow. More news straight ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. We're learning more about the new legal war between V. Stiviano and the Sterlings, what Stiviano's side is saying tonight. Plus, it was just too big for the small screen. Tonight, Sharknado 2 makes its way to movie theaters for a one-night-only event. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC.
A hands-on demonstration is getting to and from school safely for the kids at Kentwood Elementary in Westchester today.
Point your eyes and say, look. Grab your ears, wiggle your ears all around and say, listen.
Students learn to stop, look, and you heard them, listen when walking to school and back home. The LAPD School Police and program Safe Moves also want to remind drivers to be more aware now that kids are back in school.
Thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next here on LA56.
And Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
Have a great night.